Good morning and welcome to your sudden death and Olivo showcase plot. Today we're going to talk about the disease that has stolen 20 to 30 million bushels of soybeans over the past decade and what we can do to mitigate future losses. My name is Ryan Albers. I'm the agronomist at the Coon Rapids and Bayard locations.
Welcome, my name is Matt Lau. I'm the field sales agronomist out of the Perry location, and today I'm going to explain to you what SDS is. Sudden death syndrome is caused by a fungus called Fusarium virguliforme, which infects the roots of soybean plants. On this picture, as you can see, is the blue fungus that is affecting the plants. Symptoms first appear in compacted and wet areas of the field, and soon move to many other areas of the field. Infection occurs within a few weeks after emergence, but symptoms don't appear until late July once soybeans start their reproductive cycle. In this picture, you can see textbook symptoms of sudden death syndrome with the necrotic tissue in between the veins and the yellow tissue around them. In this picture, you can see the white pith of the stem of infected plants and the necrotic tissue in there as well. Subtle differences between sudden death syndrome and brown stem rot are the stem inside. Sudden death has the white pith and brown stem rot has brown, but the leaf tissue is very similar when they're infected. SDS occurs several different ways. The most common is by planting early into cool, wet soils. Another way of infection is by planting a variety that has a poor score for sudden death syndrome. We've become accustomed to using foliar fungicides to control disease, but since sudden death syndrome is a root rot, it has no direct effect on the plant health once the plant has been infected and the leaf symptoms start to show. Over the past several years, we've seen heavy SDS pressure in fields, and we've seen many areas where it causes 20 to 30% yield loss. In severe occurrences, it causes up to 50% or greater yield loss.
One way we've used to control SDS and SCN is plant a resistant or defensive variety. The problem with planting these defensive varieties is that they typically do not yield as well as offensive varieties. The other problem is the gene used to control SCN, or soybean cyst nematode, it's been used so much that there's becoming concerns of resistance. The other way is to plant later to help control SDS. The problem with planting later is that you have less time in the vegetative stages and typically will see yield loss. Our data suggests that planting earlier means more nodes, which means more pods and more beans. The optimum planting date for soybeans is April 25th through May 3rd, south of Highway 3, and May 3rd through May 10th, north of Highway 3. Every day that you get past the optimum planting dates in your prospective area, you can count on losing half a bushel per acre per day, which equates to about $5 per acre per day, which could become a huge number if you catch an untimely rain. Your Farnhamville yield data will drive this point home. Over the past 2 years, we've had a planting demonstration with 3 planting dates. They were the first week of May, the third week of May, and the first week of June. The average yield difference between the first and last planting date was 15 bushels in favor of the early planting. The challenge with early planting is the seed sitting in cool, wet soils longer. This increases the likelihood of seed and root diseases. This problem makes seed treatments mandatory if you expect success. This is a cost-effective way to increase bean yields. All it takes is a little management.
With yield being the greatest on the day the seed is placed in the ground, it makes absolute sense to have as much protection on that seed as possible. Broad-spectrum fungicide and insecticide seed treatments keep that plant healthy for about a month. Broad-spectrum fungicide and insecticide seed treatments have proven to show a yield response of 2.6 bushels per acre in Fred Belo's trials and 1.2 bushels per acre in the Farnhamville yield trials last year. There are many other third parties publishing profitable yield results from seed treatments. Over many years, we have seen many break-evens in returns on your investment from seed treatments.
Olivo is a seed-applied fungicide and nematicide. Those of you who have planted Olivo in the past are familiar with the halo effect. As these samples are being passed around, you will notice a ring around the cotyledon. Last year, we received many concerned phone calls about the discoloration and wanted to make you aware that this is normal and expected. The pros of Olivo are excellent control of SDS, it controls multiple types of SCN, and our data and university data shows yield increases even without foliar signs of SDS. The cons of Olivo are stand loss is possible in extreme conditions, and you can see slower formation of nodes. Your Farnhamville data suggests a 2 bushel per acre advantage without foliar symptoms of SDS, and upwards of 10 when you do see foliar symptoms. Last year, our cooperatives had upwards of 40,000 acres of Olivo out on trial. This year, we have north of 100,000 acres out there. So you can see we have a high level of confidence in this product. If it didn't work and show a return, we wouldn't be recommending it.
One thing we have found out with all of our research on Olivo is that the rate to control sudden death syndrome is very sensitive. A full rate of 1.18 ounces per unit is what is used to control infection of soybeans. And half rate has little direct control over sudden death syndrome and should not be recommended. In this trial behind us, we have 3 varieties. The first one we're going to talk about is the new one, 22R269, which has an excellent score for sudden death syndrome. This variety paired with Olivo should provide exceptional control over sudden death syndrome. The remaining area in this field has 5 replications of 2 varieties. The first variety is 24R259, which is moderately susceptible. The second variety is 25R249, which is moderately resistant to sudden death syndrome. They're in 8-row strips, with one strip being treated with our standard treatment of Cruiser Max Vibrance and the other strip being treated with our standard treatment with the addition of Olivo. We have not found much SDS pressure in these beans, but have found SDS pressure in Brian Burns' plot on the northeast side of this farm. This shows with the middle stack of soybeans here that are showing foliar symptoms and lost pod count. Other noticeable attributes between Olivo and non-treated Olivo is the height difference. On the right here, these beans are treated with Olivo and are significantly shorter than the beans not treated with Olivo in the same variety. Other noticeable differences is the pod count. In the 24R259s, we counted 45.2 pods per plant in the standard treatment and 56.6 pods per plant in the Olivo treatment. That is an 11.4 pod per plant difference, which according to math could equate to a 14 bushel per acre difference. In the 25R249, the standard treatment has 52.1 pods and the Olivo treatment has 62.8 pods, equating to a 10.7 pod per plant difference with a potential of 13.5 bushels per acre in yield difference. With 2 years of success already from Olivo and another year shaping out to have a lot of sudden death syndrome pressure, we fully expect Olivo to have a great return on your investment this year. Thank you for coming to your showcase plot this year. Thank you for your business. Have a safe harvest and be sure to rely on the Landis Cooperative expertise that we provide you on your information of sudden death syndrome.